This is Motorsport Radio.
1, 2.
Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website, Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome. This is the Superbike Show. It's Motorsport Radio once again, and we are back talking about everything that happened in BSB at Cadwell Park. Will Cadwell Park still be on the BSB calendar? Big rumour going around tonight. Just could be a scurrilous rumour, but we might just talk about it nonetheless if we have time a bit later. And also the small matter of MotoGP. Marc Marquez scored his first Sunday points of the year last time out. Can he do better this weekend? It's the Catalunya Grand Prix once again in Spain. And there's the small matter of the KMSC racing this weekend. That's right, kids. The Knockhill Motor Racing, what does it stand for, Lewis?
Knockhill Motorsports Club.
Something, yeah, that, basically. But it all means that Lewis Ray will be riding once again and beating the likes of Scott McPhee, no doubt, and Troy Jeffrey. And he'll be doing all of that and telling us about it here on the show. Lewis joins us once again. Hello, good evening, Lewis. How are you?
I'm very good, Lester. How are you? Have you recovered from the weekend at Rowra for Fab Racing?
Yeah, I think I've just about had about my 48 hours worth of rest, and I'm still knackered. We were at Rowra, the Cumbria kart circuit at the weekend, and we were live streaming the Road to MotoGP, the original and best mini bikes British Championship, Fab Racing, the one where all the future stars come from, and the current champions like Brad Ray, Scott Redding, Danny Kent, to name a few, and even Casey O'Gorman as well, from Fab Racing. We were live streaming that, and you can probably see clips of it on our Instagram and the Brits to MotoGP Instagram and their social medias as well, as they've kindly ripped a load of clips off us, but we don't mind, really, honestly. Cadwell Park, were you there? What was the best moment of the weekend? That's the question that we're asking on the BSB Fans and Support Classes Facebook group, so get on your old phone and start putting in your choice. You can nominate, I've personally said it might have been Glenn Irwin's Race 2 victory. Was it Race 2 when he got it on the last lap? Wasn't it?
Race 3 won by 57 thousandths of a second anyway.
Could have been that one. Yeah. I was watching sort of highlights back, so, I can show. Yeah, we're definitely online, just checking. Glenn Irwin, that's the nomination that I've put forward. But were you even there? Let us know and have your say. What was the best moment of BSB Cadwell Park for you? I know, Lewis, you were also catching up in between college and sleep as well, so I'm not going to interrogate you too much as well. But there was lots going on at the weekend, and there's lots coming up this weekend as well. Lewis, should we start with the main headlines as to what's going on in the world?
Yeah, so Iker Lecuona will be back once again for the LCR Honda team, replacing Alex Rins, with still no date and no timeline on when Alex Rins will return. Of course, this weekend we mentioned MotoGP heading to Catalonia for another round of the championship. Just a couple of rounds left before we head off to the away leg of the season in Asia. Jake Dixon as well in the past week has re-signed for the Gas Moto2 Aspar team and will remain in the Moto2 World Championship next season, ruling out a move to Gresini and MotoGP, as well as Tony Arbolino also having a contract extension with Mark VDS in Moto2, and yet another Gresini Ducati contender out of the running. Pons Racing in Moto2, they will leave Grand Prix Racing after Tito Pons, the team owner, has spent 42 years in the paddock. He'll be taking a step back at the end of the year. That's going to be replaced by the MT Helmets MSI Racing team, which also already compete in the Moto3 World Championship. And of course, as we said, Glenn Irwin took race 1 and 2 victories at Cadwell Park, with Tommy Bridewell pepping them to the line in race 3. And overall, it was a PVM Ducati domination at Cadwell Park, with Yamahas up there near the front, and actually a mix of manufacturers at the front, creating some superb racing and superb shots over the mountain. And of course, the next round of BSB will be the start of the showdown, so the points will be changing. And the final round of the normal season, as it's called, where a win scores 18 points, is over. And now we can start looking towards who is going to be our main championship contenders, with Irwin and Bridewell's gap being just 14.5 points. As well, in World Superbikes, Adrian Huertas was testing the factory Kawasaki at Aragon during a 2-day test, and at Aragon, and potentially, who knows, with a performance in P3 today, he potentially could be looking towards a Superbike ride in the coming years. But some exciting news ahead. It's an exciting weekend ahead, with plenty of racing coming up, both on two wheels on the racetrack and as well on the dirt, with MXGP taking place. But of course, we'll get into that later on.
Yeah, definitely. The Speedway GP is on Cardiff once again this weekend, on the Saturday as well. So if you're going down to that, if you're doing anything motorsport related this weekend, if you're going to a circuit, or if you're racing somewhere, Lewis, then get in touch, let us know, and tell us how confident or not you're feeling about what's going to happen this weekend, wherever you are in the world, or whatever you're doing, whatever you're racing. Doesn't matter if it's mini bikes or sidecar racing. There will be some sidecars. The British Sidecar Championship at Knockhill this weekend, Lewis. So do you fancy jumping on a sidecar? I know your mum won't let you do like British Talent Cup or anything, but what about a sidecar?
Yeah, I think that would probably also be a no. But I would like to have a go at least for a couple of laps as passenger in a sidecar. I think it would be a good laugh. But I don't think I could race one round the circuit for 15, 20 laps. Fair
enough. What about a mini sidecar? There you go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that seems manageable, to be honest. I would like to have a go at one of them.
You heard it here first. Lewis Ray on a mini sidecar coming to a live stream near you. Right, before we get on and talk about MotoGP and everything else, quick question has flooded in on the BSB and Support Classes fans Facebook group. If you're not a member, get on it already. Dave Farrell asked, while watching the BTCC from Donington at the weekend, boo, he noticed that the commentators referred to the S's and not the Fogarty S's, the Melbourne hairpin and not the Melbourne loop. But they mentioned the Swans curve. Probably, he says he's probably going to sound a bit dim, but does anyone know why that was? Good question. Are the Fogarty S's being cancelled for ITV? Fake outrage. But that's a pretty good question. I didn't see any of the touring cars at the weekend, so I have no idea what the hell they were talking about. But did you manage to catch any? And if, like Dave, are you also wondering why they referred to the S's at Donington and not the Fogarty S's? The mystery. I could just be talking rubbish, but I just thought it was an interesting comment. Anyway, talking about Huertas, could that be... Now, we don't know really regarding how... Obviously, the implication is that he's testing on that Kawasaki, and we believe Jonathan Rea is very close to, or if not, has already signed for Yamaha, and that's going to be announced forthwith in the next week or so. We believe that's the hot gossip anyway. So... do we know how long this Huertas test had been planned previously, or was it a recent thing? Because I only knew about it yesterday, so that it was going to happen. I didn't know about it, to be honest, until yesterday. Well, not yesterday, until today, actually, whenever it was on the bike. So, yeah, I don't know how long it's necessarily been planned, but of course,
Huertas is a world champion. We know how quick he has been, but won the World Supersport 300 Championship a couple of years ago. And he was straight away on the pace, P3, and I think it was 0.6 of a second off the top, which, although it is just a test, I know the whole grid wasn't out there running, it's still extremely impressive from the 20-year-old to do that on his first weekend on the bike. And yeah, I think all it's going to do now is just start a whole bunch of rumours straight away, and well, it already has, as we're talking about right now.
I mean, if you're going to test on the factory Kawasaki, then just at a time when the factory Kawasaki number one rider is in deep talks with another team, yeah, that's going to set tongues wagging, I suppose. So what does this mean, and how sensational is it? And is it just that they just wanted someone on the bike and maybe Jonathan was on his holidays? Who knows? Don't know.
They'll know.
I don't know. We'll wait and find out on that. We've got, as I say, we're tentatively expecting news. When is it? It's September, pretty much, isn't it? It's we're expecting news. When's the next round of next week? Is that 9th and 10th of? It's next week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not this week, but the next. Interesting. Okay. So
after their summer break.
Yeah, the 12-month summer break that they always say. It's so long, these summer breaks. I mean, that's like so old-fashioned to have such a long summer break. Anyway, but we're expecting some news regarding that or not in the next week or so. Anyway, stay tuned to motorsport.radio for more details on that. Anyway, what else were we monitoring? Go on.
Well, it's final quick thing. I believe as well the test for Adrian Huertas was almost a test. The test was a prize for winning the World Supersport 300 title a couple of years ago. And if I remember right, Anna Carrasco as well managed to get a test on Kawasaki's factory machine at Jerez a couple of years ago after she won the World Supersport 300 Championship.
Fair enough. Okay.
So potentially not too much, but it does come at quite an interesting period in Kawasaki's World Superbike program.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Kawasaki, that would be the absolute wrong time to draw attention to the team, especially when everyone's watching the team and wondering what's going to happen. Any small, little thing like an incoming rider potentially testing. I don't know, to be honest, I have no idea whether he's had any involvement with the team before, if he's ever done anything on the bike. I don't know. I've not even been paying attention to Huertas, to be honest. Sorry, but I've had other things to do. But Lewis, that'll be your job. We're tasking you to keep an eye on that. Oh, great, he says.
Cool.
Amongst other things, and keeping the site running and everything. So anyway, World Superbike, possible news coming in the near future, or do you know something we don't? Let us know. Get in touch. Have your say and tell us, should the government do more? There's also a rumour crossing over to MotoGP, not that much of a big rumour anyway, but the title sponsor of the Indonesian MotoGP round and SAG Moto2 team, Pertamina, is apparently in discussions to replace Mooney as the main sponsor of Rossi's VR46 team. Yeah,
so Pertamina sponsored the Thai round, Indonesia round, should say, for a couple of years now. We're now thinking about switching to MotoGP, and obviously we did have, whenever it first came, it first got announced that Valentino Rossi was going to be having a MotoGP team. We're all expecting Armco, which sponsor Aston Martin in F1, and they were meant to be sponsoring VR46, and then there was whole debacle, whether they were going to be doing it, wherever one party knew about it. One party was claiming they knew about it, the other party was saying they had no clue what was happening, and it was a real confusing period. And then Moody stepped in, which I believe is a banking firm in Italy, and now they're thought to be potentially scaling back their sponsorship for 2024 and beyond. So we're going to have to wait and see. As well as, of course, eBay, that already sponsored the team, just not as a main sponsor. They might be stepping up their sponsorship. It is also rumoured as well that Valentino Rossi might potentially be getting a Moto3 team sometime soon. Once again, obviously, he used to have the Moto3 and Moto2 programme, but then once he switched to MotoGP, he got a full-blown MotoGP team. He scaled back operations just to be able to fund it a bit more. But now we're really at that situation where quite a lot of Italian riders are struggling to find good rides in the championship. So potentially Valentino Rossi could be stepping in Moto3 once again to be able to help more Italian young talents, which also, you would need a bit extra money for, so potentially with the likes of Pertamina coming in, that could help them out. And potentially, who knows, Mini could even stay and just sponsor the Moto3 team, which would help them with them wanting potentially to scale back sponsorship.
Who knows? Perhaps nothing of consequence, but bit of gossip nonetheless. And that's what we like, bit of gossip. So, yeah, wait and see. If you even
I mean, if it helps, for example, if a bit more money in the team helps, for example, Valentino Rossi to be able to fund the Moto3 team, it would still be pretty big news, even if it was in a couple of years' time. Still a bit extra cash flow coming into the team's definitely going to help potentially get another team in the grid, another top team in the Moto3 World Championship to bring young talents like we've seen them do over the past 10 years.
He is a very savvy entrepreneur, is old Valentino, and of anyone on the grid, still in MotoGP, in the paddock anyway. He's the person who probably could afford to do what he likes, I would suggest. So, yeah, he's not short of a few quid or euros, is he? No. So, there you go. Be interesting to see. It'd be good to see. Who knows? So, should we have a full talk about MotoGP, or should we just skip straight to BSB?
Let's touch on MotoGP and then we'll head over to BSB. Yeah, it makes sense. Easier transition anyway. Okay, so no real sort of bombshells, really. Like you mentioned, Lecuona back again, replacing Rins. Is this his fourth race in a row? Is it? Yeah, fourth, fifth? Yeah. What's done quite a lot now? What's the latest on Rins? What's the actual official on any? Is there a rough timeline for him coming back? There's no timeline at the moment, to be honest, for Alex Rins, and it seems quite strange. I mean, no one really knows exactly what he's doing. He put up a video a couple of days ago on social media of him riding a motorcycle. It was just on the road. It's been for an advert. But really, the last thing we seen was him in Austria, where he was still in a crutch and still in the moon boot. There's been no timeline in exactly what's going to happen, to be honest. I believe he will be at the Grand Prix, but just watch him once again. And really, if you're Alex Rins, you've got a contract in your bag for Yamaha next season. And it seems like he's not in any rush at all to get back on that LCR Honda, which really I don't really blame him for. And Iker Lecuona is just trying to keep Honda happy at the moment and just doing what he's told, it seems. Fair enough. So, fair enough. Everyone stays where they are for now. I guess everyone's moderately okay. He's done a fair shift this season. I mean, we speak about World Superbike having such a long summer break. At least Iker Lecuona, he's done plenty of riding in that, although it's on an uncompetitive bike, where he's doing quite a good job actually not to be crashing consistently. I mean, whenever we first seen him ride the Repsol Honda in Jerez this season, all he was doing was binning the bike in practically every single session he was in. So, good to see him actually just take it nice and canny. And it seems like he's still going to be focusing on his World Superbike programme with Honda as well, as soon as that gets back next weekend. So, obviously, speaking about Jerez, actually just came to mind, and now we're going to Spain. Jerez have brand new curbs that are getting installed over the winter break. And they look like steps, to be honest. Maybe there'll be a chain reaction of things happening over those curbs. Oh, shit. Jesus. They're meant to be helping with track limits, let's just say. But, they're pretty hefty curbs, to say the least. I wouldn't want to be going over them. No, well, I saw the pictures as they were going. Strip. As they were being laid down, and I think I counted 5, 6, 7, 8 in the end. So,
Yeah, that's the steps that were, sorry. You won't even understand, Lewis. You're too young. Anyway, right. Yeah, so Jerez, good track. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if anyone comes a cropper on those. And
how many people complain about them?
Yeah, how many sensitive injuries there'll be. I'm glad I'm not a biker, to be honest, but yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. I think they're actually fully down now. So if anyone's like gone on a track day, I don't know if No Limits are going that way anytime soon. Maybe you can get a bit of insider, knowledge or something. If anyone's been on the new steps or curbs, then let us know. How bad are they? Should the government do more? Let us know. Get in touch. Have your say. So, yeah, this weekend, MotoGP. Who are the favourites then?
This weekend of MotoGP, obviously we're going to have the championship leader, Pecco Bagnaia, as a favourite for this weekend. He's looked incredibly consistent, actually, over the last couple of rounds. And at Austria, for example, he was unstoppable. And as well, we have Alicia Spargo, who's starting to come strong this season, and it seems. And last year, of course, if we cast our minds back, he was doing very well in the podium positions, actually, on the Pro, which we know has improved since last year. And then he thought it was the last lap, when in reality, it was the second last lap. So really, going off last year's results, he potentially could be a podium runner if he actually knows how many laps are remaining. I don't think he's going to be making that mistake this year at all. But as well, Joan Zarco, obviously signed now to go to LCR Honda. I don't think he's going to be a race contender anyway, that's for sure. But I definitely think now, with a contract in his back pocket for a couple of years, he could be at the front and could be battling for the top 5. We're going to have to wait and find out. Obviously, Yamahas as well. Catalunya, it's always been a track which the Yamahas have enjoyed. And we've seen as well Fabio Quartararo go extremely well at Catalunya. And he obviously had that controversial moment, to say the least, where he's unzipped his levers at Catalunya. Then didn't zip them back up until the end of the race. But up until that point, he was running extremely well. So potentially we can see Yamahas at the front once again. And hopefully they can reignite some sort of something into their season, to be fair, at the moment. Obviously, the next couple of rounds are really going to be crucial before we head to the Misano test, where Fabio Quartararo is expecting the bike that he's going to be riding there to be 90% of the package which he'll be on next season. So the couple of rounds, getting data, going to the Misano test, and hopefully good form is definitely going to help them out with Fabio Quartararo having very high expectations for next year's machine. And I believe Yamaha have promised them basically a 10-page document of what's going to be on the bike and what to expect from the package next year. So he's going to expect quite a few of them at the Misano test. So yeah, hopefully they can package that in. But this weekend for Catalunya, he's been hoping for a good result. And as well, Morbidelli, he's still got his future to be decided. Wherever he's going to be going to Gresini, wherever he's going to be going to Pramac, and where, for example, Bezek is going to go to is still up for question at the moment. And with more and more Moto2 riders getting shoved out of running, I think we're getting closer to see a shock announcement in the coming weeks or months, because really for the Gresini seat, it sounds like Fabio Di Giannantonio is going to be outside the paddock. He's going to be shoved out of that seat next season. And then we have, for example, Franco Morbidelli. He's in the running and seems like the favourite for the Pramac seat, with Bezzecchi now seeming like he's going to stay at the VR46 Ducati. So it really is questioning at the moment who's going to be having that Gresini seat. So any riders who's potentially wanting or looking at moving teams this round, the next couple of rounds, going to be really important, as it's contract signing time. And we're really in the depths of silly season at the moment, and every single race matters at this moment.
It definitely does, yes. It'll be interesting to see, as you just mentioned, whether Quartararo goes well this weekend, considering that he's got high hopes and he's pinning most of the performance on this coming weekend, at least, so apparently we're told, on an indication of being basically most of next year's bike. So if it turns out to be a bad weekend for him, then...
Well, I mean, Yamaha we've seen, and Honda actually, bring brand new aeros. They're still developing this late in the season. But yeah, it's really getting to the stage now where the 2024 bikes are going to be almost complete, and 90% of the package which is going to be riding in the Misano test in a couple of weeks' time is going to be the bike for next season. So I think coming round, building some confidence at least, and getting some good spirits with the team, because we've seen him and the team have been a little bit rocky recently, especially the comments that he's made on social media and to the media at the circuit. He's not been afraid to slag off the motorcycle anyway, that's for sure. And we've seen him over the past couple of years just riding it and overcoming the issues. It seems like right now he's not able to do that. So hopefully next season it's going to be a much happier setting for Fabio Quartararo, and hopefully we can talk about him potentially being a race winner, a potential race winner at Catalan Grand Prix next year. Well, this year I think best he's going to be looking at is a podium, if that. If anything's to look at over the past couple of rounds, he's going to be lucky to get inside the top 5. It seems like at the moment the runner, well, for the Catalan Grand Prix, it's mainly going to be the Ducatis and the Aprilias that are going to be at the front. Potentially we could get a KTM in there, but both Brad Binder and Jack Miller, I mean, Brad Binder, he's not been that great at qualifying this year and had to make it all up in the races, while Jack Miller, he's been doing great in the qualifying and then going back in the races. So it's really difficult to tell. Obviously, the Catalan Grand Prix, it's a tricky first sector as well. So potentially it could suit someone like Brad Binder, but he's going to have to take a lot of risks if he cannot sort out his qualifying performance.
Yeah, like you say, it's a tough rest of this year for Quartararo, the MotoGP stripper. And yeah, I follow him on Instagram.
He likes a good shirtless pic.
Someone buy him a shirt, for God's sake. Yeah, anyway, so I don't know. Maybe that's the only thing that he's got to flaunt this year, because it ain't race results. Ooh, sorry. Wow, that's what a bitch. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I do wish him all the best, because I suppose he's a nice lad. Not that I know him. I've never eaten pasta with him or anything like that. I don't know him that well, like Jay King has maybe. Hello to Vince Bailey, tuned in, listening or watching. Hello, good evening, Vince. He says regarding what we were talking about a short while ago, injuries that can wreck the rest of the season with a race every weekend. Exactly, that's what he said. I'm not exactly sure what he was referring to then. I might have already forgot what we were talking about. But hello anyway, Vince, and well done and congratulations on the weekend's heroics racing at Fab Racing on the mini F1 sidecars. Yeah, I think he was up to second at one point in one of the races before. Yeah. Well, a lot of people seemingly having technical issues at various points. But check it out on the Motorsport Radio, YouTube, Facebook, and Fab Racing YouTube and Facebook, and Brits to MotoGP and everything. Loads of clips everywhere. And we've not even started digging out any of the amazing crashes that we captured. He was talking about the curbs. Sorry, yes, he was talking about, regarding the curbs. Yeah, of course, that's what we had a whole discussion about it. I've forgotten already. Rod Walker's been on. Good evening once again, Rod. He says, we're heading up to Knockhill to support the Chief Scotland Motorsport Radio reporter, the one and only Lewis Ray, to do his stuff on the racetrack, hopefully on the tarmac for a bit of a change. He says hello from Rod and the team, Ray, from Dumfries. So, yeah, always nice to have you tuned in and chipping in with some comments, Rod. Do obviously share the show. It's always good to, maybe I should do some pre-promotion of the show, because we are on pretty much every week, but I'm always busy, so you kind of, sleep in and I only roll out of bed like 2 minutes before. Yeah, there's a whole lot that goes on here.
Staying on tarmac this weekend will be an achievement. Just anyway. Yeah,
just remind us what happened last time you went racing.
Oh, I can't remember. I think
because you were unconscious.
I think I took the lap record and took 4 race wins, something along that lines. Exactly, or that was something along that lines.
That's what happened in the dreams that you had while you were sat in A&E.
That was
after the big crash that you'd had, which destroyed the bike.
It was a small crash, wasn't it?
Tiny crash. You got concussed.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you get? I don't know.
No, I don't. I never got chipped out. I took a small bang to the head, but it wasn't bad. So,
no more than
doesn't matter anyway.
Didn't do you any.
Wow. Yeah. Well.
Anyway,
nothing really to lose in there. Anyway. Back to MotoGP for the time being. Yes. We'll get on to what's into this weekend later on. And MotoGP round 11 this weekend. Melissa, I'm going to ask this to you. I'm going to put you on the spot at the moment.
Amazing.
So at the moment, Francesco Bagnaia leading the way by 62 points from Jorge Martin, and also Marco Bezzecchi a further 6 points behind in third position. So a 62-point race lead going into round 11 of the championship out of 20. At the moment, who would you say is going to be the contenders? Obviously, those front three. But do you think, for example, Bagnaia, this is the time to he's basically just got a cruise round and score points? So you basically think the championship is pretty much done with a 62-point advantage, although there is 9 rounds left of the season? Or do you think there's a chance, like we've seen Bagnaia do in the past, of him potentially cracking under pressure?
I don't know about cracking under pressure, but I am going to throw a spanner in the works and say that he will. Something will happen this weekend involving Bagnaia. I wish him all the best. No injuries or anything, but something's going to happen, and that lead is going to come tumbling right down to. I'm going to guess that he's probably not going to win the main race or be on the podium at all. Well, I guess I'm saying he's going to crash out.
Or, well, he could potentially be taken out. I mean, we've seen the first corner shenanigans at Austria. It can happen literally with Jorge Martin taking about 5 or 6 riders out at turn 1, so you never know what can happen at the start of a Grand Prix. Sarah's have to wait and see. But yeah, Catalonia, it's always been a tricky circuit. It's a circuit, though, is what the teams, of course, have plenty of running on. Last year, actually, it was won by Fabio Quartararo by over 6 seconds from Jorge Martin, with Bagnaia last season crashing out of the race. Funnily enough, after we just finished speaking about that, Bezzecchi also crashed out the race as well last year. So Jorge Martin goes well at the track. Zarco actually got a podium at the track last year as well, with Alessio Spargaro getting 5th position after he forgot how many laps were left. And I think that's probably one of the funniest things, and actually probably most upsetting, because he was pretty upset himself. But yeah, last year at Catalonia, as you were mentioning there, a slight issue for Bagnaia. So hopefully none of the same this weekend, of course.
Well, thanks to people texting in, enjoying the Steps music references. Not that you'd understand, young Lewis.
I recognise, I couldn't tell what song it's from, but I know it is from a song. But yeah, I'm a bit too young.
It had some music.
It's a common airable.
I won't name and shame the person who enjoyed that Steps joke, but anyway,
it was a dad joke.
It was a dad joke, and you should be ashamed if you laughed.
Or a granddad,
perhaps. Anyway, so I think. And sorry to all the Pecco fans, but it's not personal. I just think maybe, I mean, sometimes you go on a bit of a roll and you get a bit carried away, and we saw it, a lot with Marc Marquez when he was on a roll before his arm fell off. And there was just some rounds that I thought, there's a lot of hype. Everyone's just presuming that he's going to run away with it, and he might this weekend. But the more great races, the more you go on a run, I think just on the law of averages, it says that run is about to end, really. I'm going to say it's going to be this weekend, and something's going to happen. Again, don't want any injuries, but there might be something controversy, let's say. I don't know. I might be just talking crap, which is unlike me. So there you go. So since you asked me that anyway, Lewis, and put me on the spot, what do you reckon? Or did you just answer that and I wasn't listening?
A bit of both. No, I think this weekend, honestly, I think Bagnaia, I don't know if he's necessarily going to clear off of it. I think he's given a lot more competition than what he did at Austria. Of course, Austria, it's only been a Ducati and a KTM circuit at the moment. And that's basically what we've seen, KTMs and Ducatis at the front, and Ducati absolutely storming away with the field. But the only person that we did see actually at Austria in the past, obviously, was Marc Marquez on the Honda that was able to rival the Ducatis. So at Catalonia, we've seen a mix of winners. We've seen Ducati, well, last season, as was mentioned, we've seen the Yamahas at the top of the field. So potentially we could see someone new into the mix. I mean, I don't know who would want to pick necessarily for a race win. Neither do. Maybe even a Jorge Martinez. I don't see, I'm putting out the question anyway, that I don't see Fabio Quartararo necessarily winning this year. If he does, I'll hold my hands up. But maybe even a podium, who knows? But I think the form, even the mentality within Fabio Quartararo's head, I don't think it's in the right place to be winning races at the moment. And I think there's plenty more going on there than what meets the eye, to be honest.
Well, I have no answer to that. No smart quip. So, I don't know. Let us know what you think. Have you got any insider knowledge, any special insights? Who do you really, really, really believe who's going to win the races this weekend? Let us know. Get in touch and have your say. This is Motorsport Radio. It's the Superbike show. And, so just a reminder, on the championship, then Bagnaia is leading by how many, Lewis? 62 points over old George Martin. In second place, Bezzecchi in third on 183 points. And 23 points behind him is Brad Binder in fourth place. Then it's Zarco, Marini, Alish in seventh, and Jack Miller in eighth, Alex Marquez in ninth, and Viñales rounding out the top 10 at the moment. Amazing that Quartararo isn't even in the top 10. That's how bad things are. And
it's amazing how quick Morbidelli's caught up with him, to be honest. If we've seen the difference between Morbidelli and Quartararo over the past couple of years, really Morbidelli's not been at its true form since, for example, at the end of 2021, maybe the start of 2022. That's when he was really in form, and now, well, the past couple of years, he's been about a mile away from Fabio Quartararo, but now that gap's closed, and actually he's only one position behind in the championship, and actually only 8 points behind his teammate in the championship. So Morbidelli, who knows, it could end the year as the top factory Yamaha, and actually the top Yamaha in general, with Yamaha not having a satellite team at the moment either.
Well, he's he's got a lot to prove, I suppose. So he's, whereas Quartararo might be a bit kind of moping around, slagging the bike off and the package off and feeling somewhat secure in his future, Morbidelli's perhaps a little tiny bit hungrier and just getting his head down and doing the job and doing the best of it with that package that he's got.
Yeah, he just quietly goes about and does business. But actually, I didn't realise until properly looking at the point that we're speaking obviously about the Gresini seat at the moment. And Fabio Di Giannantonio, obviously, right, last season, it was his rookie season. You just let him do his own thing. But on his second year in the championship, he's down in 16th in the championship on arguably one of the best machines on the grid. And he's getting bet by someone like Miguel Oliveira, which, to be fair, he's a great rider. He's on a good bike. But this season, he's had so much bad luck. So many, like, we look at the start of the year when he was taken out, for example, by Marc Marquez. He missed a couple of rounds due to that. He retired from the last race, I believe, because his wheel balance and weight fell off the bike and had to pull into the pit lane because of that. So he's down in 15th position ahead of Fabio Di Giannantonio after missing about half the year. Rins, he's missed the past five races or so, if not more, 6 or 7 races. And he's still ahead of Fabio Di Giannantonio, who's down in 16th position, arguably the best bike of the grid. So you can understand why he potentially might be losing his seat at the end of the season, because there's not a lot of rumours really circulating about him staying in the Grand Prix paddock.
A lot to be unravelled and unpacked in the coming weeks and months. or even over the winter as well. Definitely. I'm just keeping an eye on social media, conscious that for the past few shows that we've done, there's always been some like big breaking news erupt online. Yeah, just after we've gone off air. Or
just
like,
after, yeah.
Or first thing in the morning. So like we could spend 2 hours talking about, Jonathan Ray, blah, blah, blah. And then for like 9 a.m., it basically just makes the whole show mute because there's been an announcement and... Yeah. Maybe we should do this show on a Wednesday.
The amount of news that's came out on Wednesday, it seems to be the main news day lately, to be honest.
Yeah, we should do a new show called Wheelie Wednesday.
That's a really good idea. Anyway, that was a bit
it's
too
worse
easy.
than my steps.
It was a motorbike related joke, so I'm accepting it more.
Well, okay then. Yeah, so just as I say, if I'm a little bit distracted, apologies, because I'm all over the internet at the moment, checking out any breaking news and or gossip that's flooding in. But there isn't any at the moment. No, still not. So yeah, MotoGP this weekend. We're just going to have to wait and see, I think, aren't we? So, yeah. This particular track for you, Catalunya. Now, I'm not a fan. I think maybe I've had my experience tainted by Formula One. When F1 always goes there, it's always a rubbish race. Apart from, I think, 2016, which was like, maybe 2012. Yeah, but most of the time it's just a bit of a crap race. MotoGP's slightly less rubbish, somewhat good, but still, in my brain, it's still kind of like I don't look forward. It's one of those tracks that, for me, it's kind of bland, and I don't really. There's not much to look forward to there. Even though the ticket prices, I understand, are really good. But anyway,
they're not bad, yeah.
For you though, are you looking forward to this track? Is it a favourite of yours? What do you reckon?
Layout wise, anyway, I do like the venue, but it produces okay racing. It's not one of those venues that really you think. Well, I mean, obviously, if you think back to the likes of 2009, obviously great races there, but in general, it's always one of those venues that you always get a pretty alright race, a pretty decent race from it. It's not like, for example, at Austria, where we've seen some great racing in the past couple of seasons, and then such high expectations, which were crushed, to be honest. So potentially, who knows, it could be the opposite this round. We could be pessimistic going into it, and then we get surprised by some amazing racing. I think actually a sprint race might work in Catalunya's favour here, because, well, we've seen, as you mentioned, you don't really look forward to it, but potentially a sprint race adds something new into the mix, less laps for people to make passes, so potentially some desperation might creep in. We could see some pretty good racing on the Saturday, on the Sunday. Yeah, I mean, it's a layout that I enjoy. Certainly if you go around it on, for example, the video game. I've never been there in real life. I was potentially looking at going there this year, but obviously it clashed with my race meeting, so I didn't end up choosing that venue. But ticket prices, they're always pretty decent, to be honest. I think actually they're better than Silverstone's, which it's not really hard to beat. But it always brings a massive crowd to it. It's near Barcelona itself, and plus it's just a train ride away. So yeah, it looks to be a good weekend anyway. I'm happy for MotoGP to be back. Although it's only been 2 weeks, it still felt like a little bit too long, to be honest. I mean, World Superbike, they've been away for over a month, or about a month actually, this weekend. But I look forward to it coming back. And we only have 2 more rounds left before we head away to the away leg of the season. Just Catalunya and Misano left. So 2 pretty historic rounds, I guess you could say. It's circuits which you're always guaranteed to be on the calendar before we head off to the likes of India.
India, yes. And saw your Silverstone slam. Yeah, that was noted. But yeah, as previously mentioned on this show, I think we're both looking forward to India. I am anyway, just to see, just out of pure curiosity, really, if nothing else, just to see what that's like with MotoGP.
It's always great getting a new circuit. We've seen...
Well, it's not tight. I mean, Again, F1 fans will already know it, but for MotoGP, it's a new circuit, isn't it?
If only, it's a new circuit for us to go to, and obviously we were going to also have Kazakhstan during the summer break, and then we'll split summer break in two, but obviously we're not having that anymore, and that's to be delayed till next season. And we also were meant to have the Kimi Ring as well, but that never came to light either. And it's only like we're going to be going to the Kimi Ring anyway anytime soon. But it's always great getting a new circuit added to the calendar. Probably the last last new circuit to MotoGP that we went to would have been Portimao during the COVID season. So it's always exciting to get a new venue added to the calendar. Actually, Indonesia, would have been Indonesia. Would have been it, actually,
Yeah.
Almost forgot about Indonesia.
It's outrageous.
Mandalika,
that's it. How dare you forget? I was tipping my tongue.
Almost forgot.
Because World Superbikes went there as well. Or did they? Yes, they did.
Yeah, and hammered it down for the World Superbike race. Yeah. And then the race was pushed back like 2 hours.
Yeah, that memorable racetrack that we've already forgotten about.
It's not time to even think about the Asian leg of the season and the way out there.
We
still
have
2 more rounds of the European leg, and then we get into them where you have to stay up until 3 a.m. and wake up like 2 a.m. until about 8 or 9 and be extremely sleep deprived. And
you love it.
It's great fun.
When you're young, it's great fun. Yeah, great. Okay, so India and then Japan after that. Is it? I think it is. Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, I'm looking at the MotoGP website. I still can't make head nor tail of it. The whole thing is just... Moving on.
Be nice.
If you got nothing got to say about anything, just don't say anything at all. But anyway, a lot of people share my frustration. That's vindicated anyway. So, MotoGP then. This weekend, will Pecco bag more wins or will he not? Only one way to find out and watch it. And so wait to see for that one. Other classes then. Moto 2. What did I do with that hand there? Moto 2, Moto 3. Is there any news from this class? Can't think of anything off the top of my head.
There was Jake Dixon and Tony Arbolino.
Was that last week?
No, we didn't talk about it. It was just after we finished.
The Wednesday show, morning
pretty much.
Thing.
Yeah, it was like the Wednesday or the Thursday it got announced. It was Wednesday Jake Dixon got announced. I think the Thursday that Arbolino got announced. It was something along that lines anyway.
Fair enough. Because we were sort of... Go on.
The Pons Racing as well, also leaving Moto2 and leaving Grand Prix racing in general, and they'll be replaced by the MT Helmets team, which currently race in Moto3. I think they're also still planning at the moment to run their Moto3 program as well. So we're running two classes anyway next season. But a real shame for the Pons Racing to be leaving the class. Of course, they've had many established riders in recent years anyway, like Alex Rins, and took actually Alex Rins' first Moto2 race victory at Kota, and as well they had Paul Espargaro as well. But it's just a sad day, to be honest, for Pons Racing to be leaving Grand Prix racing, one of those teams which has been in the sport for many years, and of course Cito Pons been in the paddock for around 42 years now, so a long time, but taking a step back now. And Moto2 really seems to be where all the changes are getting announced at the moment. And then once they're all done, I think then we're going to see Moto3 slowly slotting into place. But Jake Dixon signing a contract extension, we spoke about it last week, about that it seems like it was pretty much a done deal. It's got announced a couple of days after we finished the show confirming it.
Yeah, we speculated heavily that it was going to be the case, and then realising that we all got a bit wrapped up during the Silverstone weekend, thinking that, Jake Dixon's going to be funded into MotoGP for some reason. It's going to be done by TNT, and they're going to pay for it. Why would they? And it's all going to be great, and it was all BS. So whoever floated that rumour, give yourself a slap. Jay
did say that he's seen Gresini and Jake Dixon talk, but he's not here this week to defend himself.
What said what now? Sorry, what? Who? What? Say again.
Did you get any more text messages?
I did.
Jay did say that he's seen Jake Dixon and Gresini talking at Silverstone, and he's not here to defend himself this week. So he's part of the reason why that rumour got started.
Oh, right. Okay.
To me.
Well, yeah, I mean, lots of people talk to lots of people, don't they? I mean, Jay King had dinner with Marc Marquez, allegedly. So he says. Didn't see no pictures of this, but doesn't mean that Jay King's going to be on a Honda.
Well, he's got better. Well, I mean, I think if he has enough money, they'll happily take him.
Anyway, so yeah. I was just check. I mean, as you say, regarding the Pons team, shame for them. I mean, is he just retiring from racing, or is he? Do you think maybe just scaling things back, or maybe looking to do something else somewhere else? Or
I don't think he'll
completely the end.
Yeah. I don't think he's the type of person to completely just disappear from the Grand Prix paddock. I still think he'll be around helping out maybe some young riders, who knows. But yeah, it's still a real shame. I mean, not to have a name on the grid. It's one of the biggest Moto2 teams, and obviously there were rumours that potentially Mark VDS could be moving away and just doing World Superbike fully, but luckily they're staying next season, and with Tony Arbolino, and obviously he was another one of the riders which was speculated for that Gresini seat, and he's also ruled out of that one. So yeah, big changes in Moto2 at the moment.
Not many people remember, and I just had to Google this myself because I half remembered that Pons actually had a racing team in the now defunct Formula Renault 3.5 car racing series in 2013, 14 and 15. Exactly. Not many people know that. Or maybe they did. I don't care. The likes of... they didn't have many big name drivers, but...
they were there.
But they were there. They had the Formula One star, the occasional Spanish Formula One star, Roberto Meri, racing for them, and British racer Oliver Webb. That's right. But anyway, so yeah, Pons, a good all-round motorsport outfit, and we'll be sad to see them go. I'm just actually looking through their Wikipedia page, and some helpful persons have put together literally all their results from all their years in Grand Prix racing, going back to 1992 with... Yeah, in the 500 and 250cc classes. That's all good. Wikipedia, now the place to go to find out all the information and stats for MotoGP. If only there was a MotoGP kind of stat website dedicated to MotoGP. Could call it like MotoGP.com or something. I don't know. I don't know. Sorry. Right. Anyway, but yeah, Pons apparently going anyway. So that's that. There was one other bit of information that I saw for Moto2. American racing. What's going on there then? Have they got any Americans associated with that team anymore now? Is even the team owner, or the team manager, is he sticking around? I mean, what the hell seems like just a massive fallout of what's going on.
Yeah. Well, obviously we spoke about last week with the whole Sean Dillon Kelly situation, the fact that he is heavily rumoured to be totally fit to ride. It seems like he is, according to social media. Obviously, the team is saying that he's not, and is and has now signed another rider for the team, Marcos Ramirez. But now as well, in the past week, it was announced that their junior GP European Moto2 rider, Max Toth, will also split with American Racing. And I believe if you sign for American Racing, you also have to be under the Apex management branch, I guess you could say. So basically, if you sign for the team, your manager is also basically the team, which I think is how this whole situation with Sean Dillon Kelly has been able to unfold. But Max Toth, he's split with American Racing and Apex Management, which is basically left now with no Americans associated with the American riders in the team in at least Junior GP and World Championship level. And now all there really is, it seems, for American Racing is like their proper junior riders that they're trying to bring through the ranks in America itself. But certainly out here in Europe and on the world stage, there's no American riders left, it seems, in the American Racing team. So yeah, that situation is constantly developing, and it's really interesting to see what's happening at the moment. And no one really knows what the rider situation is going to look like for the team next season. Obviously, we don't know if Sean Dillon Kelly is going to be back. It doesn't look like it. And Marcos Ramirez, who knows if he's going to sign for 2024 or if they're going to look elsewhere. Who knows? They might even look to America. Cameron Beaubier, he's out for the rest of the Moto America season. Could he potentially want to come back in 2024 into Grand Prix? I don't think so. But could they potentially get another American talent, like, for example, Jake Garnier? Although he has maybe got age on his side at the moment, he has a free time in a row, three-time Moto America champion. So, yeah, who knows what's going to happen with American Racing. At the moment, no American riders and an American team. So Rory Skinner, Marcos Ramirez seems to be the riders left for the rest of the season, while Max Toth has split from American Racing and Apex Management, which, yeah, it seems like the story of this is not to allow you to have your management basically be the team you ride for.
If that is indeed what Lewis is alluding to, it might be that there was just something else, the cause.
Could just be a falling out.
Something else. But it's pretty obvious what's kind of going on there. Bit of a shame. You know what you should do? Get your mate on the phone, old Rory, and yeah, get him on the show. Ask him what's going on.
They're back.
Yeah, he won't be racing at Knockhill this weekend because he'll be in the thing.
He'll be at a slightly bigger stage.
Yeah, but I mean, you'll be racing along, rubbing shoulders and handlebars with the likes of
Scott McPhee.
Scott McPhee.
Or should we just say McPhee, and it sounds even more impressive?
Scott McPhee. And hey, whoa, Scott McPhee, that's he's going to be there.
He is a McPhee.
He is a McPhee, yeah. And who's the other? Troy Jeffrey as well. Another such Scottish alumni.
Yeah, Scottish. Yeah.
Think of any names at the moment. I haven't seen an entry list, so I don't even know. But anyway, yeah, American Racing then. Are they, I'm hesitant to say, going down the pan, but appears that way.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see at the moment if they're, I have seen on social media, whatever how true this is, I don't know, I'm not the one that's saying this, but I have seen on social media that the team do owe some money to some people as well. So potentially signing someone like Marcos Ramirez could bring in a bit more money to the team and help them out. And Rory Skinner as well, whenever he's asked about his contract, he says at the moment he doesn't believe there's any change, and he does have a 2-year contract. So Skinner seems like he's going to be in that team at least next season. So we have a Scottish rider in Moto2, but in the other side of that box, we have no clue. Who knows? We might only run a one-rider team. We don't know anything at the moment, to be honest, on what's going to happen next season. They haven't officially announced that Sean Dillon Kelly is going to split to the team, but Sean Dillon Kelly has said that there is some big news on the way.
Exactly. So, and at least they've got the backing and the support from OnlyFans, who are seemingly the only ones injecting support into that team and giving them a boost and squirting some cash their way, seemingly. But,
Any more?
So, all good. So childish.
Subscribe to their OnlyFans for free to see race reports and exclusive content for American racing. Lester, he's a subscriber himself.
It's all right. You don't see anything. It's just Rory Skinner. Anyway, should we move on?
Yeah, let's move all the way from OnlyFans. I think that's probably the best.
Not for the first time as well. Right, yes. Anything happening in Moto 3? What's going on there? I've not heard any news, but that's not new either. So,
yeah, I mean, there's actually not been much happening in Moto 3 at the moment. It seems like they're almost waiting for all the Moto 2 stuff to be done with before then they go into announcing Moto 3. It seems like everyone's kind of waiting. There's rumours, for example, that like Dennis Onchen might move up next season.
He's always moving up every year.
Yeah, well,
sick of him moving up.
All right there, but I don't know. It'd be pretty exciting to watch on the Moto 2 bike, to say the least. I think it would definitely bring a Darren Bender-esque type of racing into the championship. Anyway, we know that he's not the most polite rider on the circuit. He's not afraid to make a pass or two and make a late lunge. But yeah, it'd be great to see. He's a really tall rider. He's slightly disadvantaged height-wise in Moto 3, but he's still getting the results, and he took a win at Silverstone a couple of rounds ago, so he's still able to get results. But there's rumour is if Pedro Acosta moves up to MotoGP, which it seems like he will, then Dennis Onchen is one of the riders anyway that can potentially be in line to take his place. So yeah, we're going to see what's going to happen. And as well, actually in Moto 2, Danny Munoz, which is currently racing in the Junior GP European Championship, he will be moving to the Pertamina Mandalika SAG team next season in Moto 2, so he'll be making this step as well. But yeah, that's pretty much all the Grand Prix class news for the time being anyway, and we're just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen with these guys, and especially Moto 3, and when moves going to start get made, because all we've really seen is a couple of riders re-signing and quite a few riders moving up to Moto 2 next year.
Any news on Scott Ogden and Josh Watley? I always ask, but
no, nothing right now. I'd actually need to have a look to see when their contract is until it's a 1-year basis, or
I think it is. What's
the deal from that? But yeah, hopefully they can have a seat for next year. We need as many Brits right now in the championship, and really there's not that many Brits that are ready to make the step to Grand Prix and are also the age to make the step to Grand Prix racing at the moment that could replace them. But obviously we have seen the Michael Laverty Vision Track team in Junior GP. They've signed an Argentinian rider, so potentially, who knows, we could see Vision Track look towards another nationality while we await for more British talent. But hopefully Scott and Josh can stay in Vision Track for the next couple of seasons until maybe someone else comes through the ranks and they can move on to the likes of Moto 2.
So what? Just remind me the age limit again at the moment. Is it 18 or
18? Yeah, 18. Unless, I believe, if you win, for example, the Red Bull Rookies and stuff, you can do it special dispensation. But yeah, the age limit's been upped practically everywhere now. So yes, some people are going to start getting blocked, and this is really the period next year, even this year, was the period where we start to see riders get stuck at stages. And I think within, hopefully, give it a couple more years, maybe the next 5 years or so, hopefully we can see it all smooth itself out, and then we see everyone have less of a rush to make jumps. But this could also create the opposite effect where we see a lot more riders completely skipping Moto3 and just jump into Moto2. You interviewed Casey O'Gorman at Thruxton about a month ago, and he was saying that he is looking, his mindset is also on Moto2 if Moto3 doesn't work out. So a lot of riders also looking towards Moto2 as almost a backup option at the moment if they can't get to Moto3, or if they would just rather spend almost less money in the short term, in the long term I should say, and make the straight jump to Moto2 and skipping out of class.
One would think that would be sensible if you've got a few years to wait, say if you're 16 at the moment. Do a few races, keep busy. That might be a sensible option to scale back your plans, keep your fitness up, maybe do a few fab rounds or something, or, maybe something similar to that. But yeah, the Casey O'Gorman interview was interesting at the time, because we spoke to him literally as the press release came out I think within minutes, unbeknownst to me, when that press release came out. And I said a lot of things actually. I expressed my concern to him that popping up at Thruxton on a bike he's never been on, at a track that he's never rode at, just for fun, might possibly not be the best idea, just in case something goes wrong. And it did, and he was injured, and that caused him to be injured and have a bad round for the following week at Red Bull Rookies. And he's still suffering from that, from Cadwell as well, and that only got worse with another. So that was kind of what I was getting at there. Anyway, yeah, but what do I mean, I'm not a rider. I don't know what it's like to not be racing. So, well, I do, but you know what I mean. Anyway, right, shut up, Forbes. So yeah, Moto3.
Dig yourself a hole.
Never, no way. Nothing I can't talk myself out of. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of about it, really. There's not much else we can waffle about other than just say, tune in and watch the TNT this weekend, or however you consume your MotoGP. Or
Discovery Plus.
Is it on Discovery Plus? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. With Discovery Plus Premium package.
Oh, Discovery Plus Premium?
Yes.
Is there like a titanium package on top of that Plus Premium? Super Gold Thunder level?
Maybe if you give them enough money, send them an email for a check. But
yeah, we still not done.
I think that's it from Grand Prix.
Yeah, so we still not done that consumer TV thing, mostly because I probably would just go on a big rant and it's not very good. But anyway, yeah, moving on to something a lot more positive. And, Cadwell Park and BSB at the weekend. And, yeah, there was a lot going on. And it was Glen Irwin Race 2, which I nominated for the moment of the weekend. I put forward to, and a lot of people agreeing with me in the BSB and Support Classes fans Facebook group. Check it out on Facebook if you're not a member already. I put a poll out a couple of hours ago, basically, and just asked everybody what was their favourite moment, or what was the best moment of the weekend for them. And I suggested it was Glen Irwin's Race 2 win. And that was agreed with by a handful of people, and that's now been overtaken by Chris Gurney's suggestion that Race 3's Tommy Bridewell victory was actually the best moment of the weekend in BSB, closely followed by Ryan Vickers' Over the Mountain, suggested by Catherine Leonard. And one person says the O Show taking third place. That was Danny Holly, suggested that one. No one agreed with him. But poll is still open. Check it out. BSB and Support Fans Facebook group at the moment. And as I say, I only put it out a couple of hours ago, so there's not many people voted at the moment. So, Lewis, from what you've seen, because you were commentating at Fab at the weekend, although it was the Monday, wasn't it? And you were at College in Glasgow, Scotland. So from what you did see of BSB at the weekend, best moment for you?
Well, I managed to watch pretty much most of Monday's racing, actually. But yeah, I would probably say race 3, to be honest, is my favourite moment of the weekend. Obviously, watching them go over the mountain never gets old. And Ryan Vickers actually seems like he was trying to contend for the person that could get the highest at the mountain. But yeah, Tommy Bridewell, race 3, it was great. First of all, see Bridewell taking it to Glen Irwin, and he really chipped away this weekend from a start of the weekend where he was still somewhat struggling, going off around at Brookston where all the Ducatis were struggling, to then slowly chipping away, and by the end of the weekend beating his teammate, and it was less than 1/10 of a second. The two guys battling for the championship, and it was a real championship ride, to be honest. I mean, he used his head, he raced with his teammate, there wasn't really any stupid moves on a circuit, which we've seen this weekend and Monday, this bank holiday weekend, that it was pretty difficult if you watch, especially some of the support class races, to make clean passes around Cadwell.
Possibly. I mean, Cadwell hasn't changed its width, but a lot of people that I've seen today complaining that suggesting that maybe Cadwell has been outgrown now by the paddock, by BSB, and suggesting, God forbid, that BSB might not even go there with one scoundrel, not on our BSB and support classes fans Facebook group. They wouldn't suggest such a thing, but on another group, on one of those other Facebook groups, even going as far as to suggest that maybe Palmer is considering selling Cadwell Park. But that doesn't make any sense because, well, who the hell would buy it? And why would you even sell it? Because it's like the jewel in the crown of the, it's one of the iconic venue. Anyway, but that's obviously nonsense. Cadwell is what it is. It's the mini Monaco, I guess, maybe. But yeah, they can't all be like big Grand Prix tracks. I don't think even when people when BSB go to Silverstone, the actual Grand Prix track, everyone whinges and moans about how the spectators are so far away and how the track's so wide and everything costs a fortune. But when you go to the actual opposite of Silverstone, Cadwell, where you're literally sort of looking over the track almost, people are still whinging and moaning. Well, not everyone, obviously, but a couple of vocal minorities on those other Facebook groups. Whinging and moaning that maybe Cadwell's a bit too small for BSB. But I disagree. It's still a great track. And it is what it is.
It's a real spectacle.
It's a spectacle and a great fitting venue for the world's premier domestic racing motorcycle series. Wasn't even paid to say that. No.
It's one of the best tracks on the calendar. Certainly as a fan perspective, to go there for the weekend and watch the race. It's a real event. It's not just the race. It's the party in the park, the atmosphere at the night time, especially in the campsite, and the almost mini concerts that go on throughout the night. And also how close you are to the racing. Yeah, practically, yeah. And obviously, as you mentioned, from a spectator's point of view, being able, for example, at Turn 1, I've only been to Cadwell for British Superbikes once, actually, and yeah, I can't wait to go back, and it was a couple of years ago, actually. But at Turn 1, you can practically look down, and the bikes almost seem like they're a couple of feet below you, and you're basically staring directly down at them. And at the mountain as well, there's so many places you can watch that from, especially on the hill just behind it, just before the mountain. You can watch them go over, or on the Friday or the Saturday, you can go in the grandstand for free anyway, at least last time I was there, and watch it from the top of the mountain as well. And yeah, the mountain itself, it just adds to Cadwell, and it's one of the most spectacular places that we have in the UK, and I don't think the majority of people, especially the majority of the paddock, they wouldn't want to lose it at all. And obviously we did see, for example, like at Brookston, where we had 5 bikes battling for the race, but if not more, every single race. Obviously, it's slightly bigger gaps, but even then, racing within top 5 is still about just under 2 seconds was the gap. So you can't really ask for more, especially on such a tight and twisted circuit. And it's a real riders' venue, which brings out the best. And I wouldn't want to lose Cadwell ever, to be honest. It's a great venue to go to as a circuit. As a circuit, it's a great venue. As a fan, it's a great venue, and as a rider, it's a great venue. So what more can you really ask for from a circuit?
Yeah, exactly. So stop whinging, people who are whinging. I don't even know what they're whinging about, to be honest. We had some good racing. Yeah, exactly. There was nothing. I literally don't know what they're complaining about. So anyway, moving on from that. Couple of people who did have really good weekends, not in BSB, but in the junior superstock. Cameron Hall picked up his first race win at the weekend. And we've just seen he was posting yesterday or last night or today or whenever it was. He had a fantastic race. He had a plan. Apparently everything went according to the plan. He messed the start up a little bit. But other than that, he said it was a perfect weekend for him. Massive thanks to his mum and dad and everyone who supported him and stuff. And a nice little picture of him on the podium. Yeah. So, I think Cameron Hall's one of those people who I think a lot of people have their eye on as expecting to do something good in the future or now, I suppose. And, he's just starting to come good now. So, and the results are just starting to come his way, which is always nice to see. It's nice to see a good news story.
Yeah, a new race winner in the junior superstock class. It was actually a really good race, and it was the first race of the day on the Monday. They only got one race with actually Sam Lappins this round, changing away from the Yamaha team that he was with, the R6 team. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, changed away from a Yamaha to a Kawasaki. Now going with J&S Racing, and yeah, changing away on this first weekend inside of the top 10. So already great results, and actually a rider who was at the front in the start of the race was Declan Connell, and it's always great seeing Declan Connell at the front, being from Scotland. Declan Connell was battling for the race win in the first stage of the race until, we've seen a replay of it. He ran through the grass, managed to keep it up, and he ended up finishing the race 13th position, just in front of Aaron Sylvester, who also had to run through the grass after Asher Durham tucked the front on the first lap of the race and almost took him out. So,
he had an eventful weekend, didn't he, Asher Durham?
Yeah, he definitely did, to say the least.
Did I see him flying through the air at one point on an Insta reel or something like that? I saw a lot of people flying through the air, to be honest.
There was one of two crashes throughout the weekend.
Quite a few, yeah. Definitely. Just having a look at the Pirelli National Junior Superstock with Santander Consumer Finance result from the race. Cameron Hall won by 1.6 seconds over Jacob Hatch. Owen Jenner on the podium again. Good result for him. And Harrison Crosby in 5th place as well. Former Fab Racing rider, graduate from Fab Racing, and most recently in the British Talent Cup as well. Ed Best just behind Crosby. And who else? I think, this particular class, I mean, there's so many names in it that I like to see do well, that there isn't, it's got to the point now where I just like to watch the racing, really, and there's sort of I support pretty much kind of everyone. Sounds really shit and cheesy to say that, but
as long as you get a good race.
Exactly, I just like to see a good race. There was quite a few DNFs as well in the race, and I don't think even Asher Durham. Did he start the race, or he didn't complete a lap?
Yeah, he did start. He just ended up tucking the front. and crashing out of the race. He did complete lap 1 anyway.
Fair enough. So yeah, that was the Junior Superstock Championship. Only one race for them, and the points standings, bring them up here on the old interwebs here. Aaron Sylvester leading by just 17 points over Owen Jenner at the moment. Asher Durham in third place, 28 points adrift from the leader. Cameron Dawson in fourth, Ed Best in fifth, Jacob Hatch in sixth, and Louis Vallely in seventh place in the championship at the moment. Declan Connell in eighth, Cameron Hall in ninth after his first race win at the weekend, and 10th place Harrison Crosby. So yeah, that's good going. You've got 3 more races to go. No, we've got 4 more races.
Yeah,
we've got one at Alton, 1 at Donington, and 2 at Brands Hatch as well. So I was just looking at the sideways thing. So yeah, 4 more races to go in that championship. That's going to be a good one to keep an eye out for. It's all to play for. Is it going to be Aaron Sylvester's championship? Didn't have the best Cadwell Park, but maybe it might be Owen Jenner, Mr. Smiler, or maybe even Asher Durham. Can he bounce back from his well, he's had a bad couple of weekends, really. He did a 24-hour race, or he attempted to do a 24-hour race at Rowra 2 weeks ago, didn't he, with Free Tech?
Yeah, Free Tech.
I'm sure he won't want us talking about that. So we won't. I'll be kind to him. But yeah, that was a good one. Moving on to the British Supersport and British GP2 Championships. Quattro groups. British GP2. That one. Yeah, 2 races for these guys and girls. Race 1, it was a Ben Curry win by only 0.4 of a second over Luke Stapleford. Tom Booth-Amos in third place. Tom Taparis in fourth. And Richard Cooper in fifth. And TJ Toms and in sixth place. Fantastic result for young TJ. Luke Jones in seventh, Eugene McManus in eighth, Jamie Perry in ninth, Ash Barnes in 10th place. That was race 1 in the sprint. Race number 2. What happened? I don't think I even seen race 2. I don't think.
Curry dominated.
He dominated. Yes, he did. He won the race by 5.5 seconds. Richard Cooper in second place. Rhys Irwin in third. Tom Saparis in fourth, and TJ Toms right up there in 5th place in race number 2, Eugene McManus in 6th, Luke Jones 7th, Van Sickleruss in 8th, Max Wadsworth in 9th, and Jack Nixon rounding out the top 10. Thomas Strudwick in the race. I often forget he's even racing in this. Finished 12th. Sorry.
This is, I believe it's his first weekend with the team. Obviously in Supersport, Sam Monroe is meant to be riding for them, but he's got a wrist injury that he picked up at Brookston. So Thomas Strudwick and Richard Cooper as well were racing the class this weekend, and also in the BMW F900R Cup.
Yeah, that's what he was most recently doing. Okay, yeah, obviously I'm not paying attention to Strudwick's career, sorry. Anyway, GP2 as well. Let me have a look here. Who won GP2? Race 1, Cameron Fraser. First place, Harry Rowlings in second place. Ben Tolliday won the Cup, the GP2 Cup. In third place, Harvey Claridge in GP2, finishing 19th overall in the race. In race 2, GP2, it was Harry Rowlings, Cameron Fraser, and Ben Tolliday. No, it was Ben Tolliday's in the Cup.
Yeah.
GP2, it was third place, Harvey Claridge. Obviously, I can't read TSL very well. Great. Again, I didn't even watch race 2, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm only just going off TSL. So,
yeah, Booth Amos basically was battling away with Ben Curry at the front. Until he pulled the front and basically destroyed his motorcycle and crashed out again. And it's exactly what we've seen this season in the British Supersport Championship, is that nobody is really being too consistent at the moment, apart from pretty much Ben Curry at the front, and Ben Curry, consistent weekend for him, and now he extends his championship lead to 44 points, especially after Rhys Irwin crashed out of race 1, Luke Stapleford crashed out of race 2, and Tom Buffamos crashed out of race 2 as well. So Buffamos being the only rider within the top 4 that's managed to keep it on 2 wheels, and Buffamos yet again repeating the trend which is really setting of finishing one race, crashing out of another, and there's only been 2 meetings this year where Buffamos has finished both of the races. Buffamos and Stapleford's been pretty consistent, but Buffamos, Stapleford and Irwin still need to be a little bit more consistent to be able to catch up with Ben Curry, who's only had 1 DNF throughout the whole season, which came at round 3 at Donington Park.
Interesting one, that Tom Booth Amos. It almost looks like there's a pattern there, but I'm sure it's just bad luck. Sure it is just that. But that's one crazy coincidence. Anyway, Tom Booth Amos is 4th in the championship, 76 points adrift from the lead, with 6 races to go, 2 at Alton, 2 at Donington and 2 at Brands Hatch. Still time. But can Ben Curry serve up another couple of delicious victories and race wins for us at Alton Park? You can tell I'm getting hungry, can't you? Sorry. Ben Curry, you don't expect any better, right?
I was wondering where you were going to go with that pun there, to be honest.
Well, yeah. So Ben, he's doing really well. He's only, like you said, he's only not finished. He's finished all but 1 race this season, and he's won the last 4 races on the bounce. So I'm not going to say a single thing other than just good luck. Don't want to jinx anything. So there you go.
Of the Ben Curry fan base on your back.
Well, yeah, I mean, we like Ben on this show. He's, we've not spoken to him for a while, but I just don't want to jinx anything, so I'm not going to say anything at all. Just moving on, unless you've got something to say.
No, he's doing a great job at the moment. It seems like everyone else just needs to be a little bit more consistent. And I think this championship, if they were a bit more consistent, be so much closer than 44 points, because really every single super sport race this year, it's been incredibly close racing, unless if someone's crashed out, like we see with Tom Buffamos at Cadwell.
Well, it could still be very close.
Yeah, it still could be. There's still 6 races left this year, so anything can happen. 150 points still up for grabs in the British Super Sport Championship. So, yeah, all it takes is 1 race, really, and then that lead will come tumbling down, and the pressure will start once again.
Okay. Right. Okay. Moving on then to the National Superstock with Santander Consumer Finance Championship, and was there just one? There was just 1 race for this class at the weekend, and it was pole position for Billy McConnell before the race, and he didn't convert that to a win. He only finished 4th, but Tim Neve did win the race. Tim Neve
is back.
Yeah, he's back, and he's back on top. He won the race. So, Dan Linfoot only managing to come second. Alistair Seeley rounding out the podium in 3rd place. And Billy McConnell, a disappointing, he would say, I'm sure, 4th place.
After his penalty that he received during the race. So Billy McConnell won it on the road, technically, until he was given a ride-through penalty equivalent, so a 10-second time penalty, 10-second time penalty that he was given for making contact with Joe Talbot at turn 2. during the race and knocking them off the machine. And actually, interestingly, one lap earlier, Joe Francis got knocked off at turn 2 as well. So the two Joes not having any luck at turn 2 during their one race of the day. But a 10-second penalty dropped McConnell down to 4th, and as soon as he knew about that 10-second penalty, he absolutely went for it, and I think he was going to finish down 7th, and he ended up finishing in 4th. So a super respectable ride. And Tim Neve, it's great to see him back on top. Obviously, he's not had a great season racing in BSB itself with McCann's Yamaha, but filling in at the moment for Franco Born, who continues to ride the Honda Racing UK machine. So filling in for Franco Born at the moment, taking the race win. It's still pretty impressive. Although it wasn't on the circuit, you can only do what you can, and you're still battling until the final couple of laps anyway, until he realised that McConnell got a penalty, and it seemed like he kind of just dropped back because he knew they would still win anyway. So great to see Neve on top, and really good for potential hunting next year if he wants a full-time ride in the British Superbike paddock.
Yeah, that's, for me as well, that's one of the good news stories from Cadwell as well. Tim Neve, like you say, it was Billy McConnell's incident that ended up with him not winning the race, but to Tim Neve's benefit, really. I mean, a win's a win. You'll take it whatever way you can get it, really. And, well, it's good to see, having left BSB by his own admission, saying that he's kind of not really enjoying things and he needed to take some time out. It's clearly he's still got the passion and the fire and the talent. He's still got it, baby. And it's good to see him back and back on top. So, yeah, well done, Tim. And hopefully you'll stick around because, yeah, we don't like to see any riders disappear under negative circumstances, or under any circumstances, really. So it's good to see Tim back and back on top. So yeah, again, one of the good news stories from the weekend. It seems like a lot of positivity in the paddock all round. I mean, maybe it was just the Cadwell Park effect. Everyone just loved being at Cadwell, and the fact it was just Cadwell, and everyone just liked being at Cadwell. Yeah. So who knows? Championship standings for the National Superstock, Pirelli National Superstock with Santander Consumer Finance.
Always a mouthful.
Dan Linfoot leading by 27 points. And it's Richard Kerr in second place, Alistair Seeley in third, Joe Talbot in fourth place in the standings right now, Billy McConnell in fifth, Lewis Rollo in sixth place, and Alex Olsen dropping down to seventh place. Franco Born, even though he's not raced since Knockhill,
half the season.
Yeah, basically, he's still in the top 10. He's in eighth at the moment, which shows how well he was going. I think he was second at the time, wasn't he, or second or third or something when he went up to when he got the call from BSB. And then anyway, Luke Hedger in ninth place, and Ashley Beach rounding out the top 10 at the moment, with 6 races left to go in the Pirelli National Superstock Championship with Santander Finance. Yeah, so good job, Tim Neve. There you go. All right, and there wasn't a lot of other racing happening, but there was just have I missed anything out there? Just the BMW.
There was the BMW. Yeah.
BMW 900R Cup. I have to admit, didn't see any of it. Did you?
Not really. I didn't. I watched BSB Race 3. And I may or may not have fell asleep afterwards. But
yeah, that's my excuse as well.
To be honest, being the BMW Cup, it's a great championship. I love how cheap it is for people to get into racing, into British Championship racing, especially different levels as well. It means practically anyone can get a race if they want to race there, and as well the prize money is pretty good out of it. Even though this year it's been taken pretty much all by Richard Cooper, but prize money is good, and the bike that you get out of it is pretty good as well, with a brand new BMW M1000, I think it is. But the racing this year hasn't been necessarily the best so far, that we've ever seen. But we have seen Thomas Strudwick taking it to Richard Kerr a couple of times this year, but Cadwell Park was not that with Richard Cooper winning by 4.2 seconds over Thomas Strudwick, which is a story which, we've seen quite a lot, and it seems like it's kind of the best of the rest was Christian Smith, who managed to beat Barry Burrell, actually, who's been near the front of the class over the past couple of rounds. So Barry Burrell in 4th position. But special mention for the BMW F900R Cup. Jay King, not here this week, but we can still talk about the King because his brother out on the circuit in the BMW F900R Cup, Charlie King, finished in 8th position. So Charlie King doing a wildcard one-off. I think it's just the one-off at Cadwell last weekend. So a King.
Was he also at... I think he was at Thruxton as well, wasn't he? No.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, maybe it was just a one-off. I don't know.
Maybe not. Don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask Jamie if only
he'd know. Yeah, if only he was here right now, tuned in, telling us about all the interesting stories of people that he'd heard from, rumours of various things. Basically, they all come from Charlie King. Telling Jamie King, and then Jamie King tells us. That's all it is. But yeah, no, great result for Charlie King. Finishing the race in 8th place, and like you're saying, it's kind of going up at the front anyway, the way that many people knew it would do, with Richard Cooper and Thomas Strudwick vanishing in the distance. I'm not saying they completely cleared off, but they did finish 10 seconds ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if we just, for argument's sake, put those two to one side, and just for a bit of fun, let's say just didn't count them, just for a bit of fun, not being disrespectful or anything, that would effectively mean that Christian Smith might have won the race. He actually finished 3rd on the podium, and Barry Burrell would have been in 2nd place, and Kieran Smith would have been in 3rd place, and Charlie King would have finished 6th, and Mason Johnson, he would have finished 4th as well. Mason Johnson, former Fab rider from a few years ago, and British Talent Cup racer as well. And any other names that I recognise on there? Just having a quick look. No. So yeah. There you go, Richie Cooper. There you go.
Yeah, racing in 2 classes as well this weekend, also with Thomas Strudwick filling in for Sam Monroe. Richard Cooper was racing for the PHR Triumph team in Supersport as well. So the top 2 also doing 2 classes this weekend and still being able to be at the top in the BMW F900R Cup. Of course, Cooper, he's done quite a few double classes throughout the season, usually racing though on the R6 Yamaha, but now on the Triumph, on a bike that's built and by Peter Hickman's bunch over at PHR Racing. So still being able to go out on top on the FHO machine is Richard Cooper, and it'll be interesting anyway to see what he's going to do next season for Richard Cooper. I mean, he's been consistent at the front of the BMWs. He's been, whenever he's raced in the Supersport, he's been consistently on the podium and battling for wins in that class too. So who knows? You would hope anyway that plenty of teams are potentially looking at signing him, and more importantly, if he wants to sign for them and race in a bigger class next season.
Would it have been better, do you think, for the BMW series or the is it a series, a cup or a championship? It's cup, isn't it? Yeah. Would it have been better when they started up to say something along the lines of, look, here's the rule, the prize money is only going to be available to people who have not raced in BSB the previous season or currently racing in BSB in another class, let's say. So, because there was a bit of talk about Richard Cooper rocking up and basically stealing the whole champ. I didn't say that. It was just there was a rumour.
Comments once the announcement was...
A couple of downhearted people, and I mean the spirit of the entire cup is to give that accessibility to people who wouldn't ordinarily be racing at BSB, and it's done fantastic so far. We've got a fantastic grid. We've seen, but there again, we've seen some pretty good names as well. So maybe it is an attraction to bring more people in to know that they can be racing alongside the likes of Dominic Herbertson, Michael Rutter, Thomas Strudwick, to name a few. Levi Day's been, I think he did a round or a couple of rounds. Bjorn Esmond as well. He's had a go as well. I think there was talk about Tristan Finocchiaro jumping on a bike and having a go as well. It might be at the next round, potentially. Did I give that away? Yeah. Maybe even Lewis Ray, potentially. Oh, no, they've already got one Ray. It's Max McRae.
Max McRae, yeah.
Sorry, Lewis.
I'll leave him to inside. Well, yeah.
But
scoring positions for Max.
Would that? Do you think, in your opinion, would that have been a much more diplomatic way of allowing people who wouldn't ordinarily be racing in BSB, like let's say the rest of the BMW Cup, to enjoy their moment with all that prize money? Because, as good as Richard Cooper is, and he is fantastic, he has won every single race. And Thomas Strudwick's finished either second or third on every single race. Yeah. And we knew they would. And Barry Burrell's also, he's always there or thereabouts. So in terms of podiums, no one else gets a look in, really.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, for Richard Cooper, you don't blame him for racing the championship. He's had a great season, and purely his skill and pace taken 7 out of 7 race wins so far this year. But before the season, I think also if they did make a rule, like if you've raced in BSB at all over the past couple of years, then first of all, we'll be seeing probably smaller grid numbers. Obviously, we wouldn't have these big names, but arguably the big names.
Well, I don't know. If they have the same prize money, I think that was the big draw for a lot of people. And then Richard Cooper rocks up, and by that time, maybe a lot of people had already committed to it, so they thought, I'll stick with it now.
Yeah, but the point is, if the rule was if you've raced in BSB at all, then for example, you could be lingering down in 15th position or something in Super Sport, and you're not allowed to race in this championship just because you've done that one season in Super Sport, for example. But I know what you're trying to say. Not allow people like your Richard Coopers, your Thomas Strudwick to come into the class and absolutely dominate it. With obviously Richard Cooper, he's a British champion in himself, and he's coming here and it looks like he's going to take. Well, he already has became the. Well, not actually. He's going to become the champion anyway. With just Thomas Strudwick. Pretty much, just Thomas Strudwick able to stop him. So it looks like next weekend he can bag that if he scores 2 points at Cadwell Park.
I think the only way that he's not going to win is if he gets disqualified from the championship, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, either that or he doesn't race the next 2 rounds, but that's not going to happen either. So Richard Cooper, I think definitely looking at the future of this class, there needs to be probably some sort of rule in place not to allow this to happen, and not to allow big names to come into it. Like you mentioned, the prize money, it can really give someone a start in their British Superbike career. And certainly, your Mason Johnsons, he's still pretty young, came through the Fab route. He's 6th position, and without, for example, some of the big names up there, he'll be finishing 4th almost, and battling for the podium actually, and potentially getting more TV coverage, getting his name out there a bit more. So definitely for the future, I think they should implement some sort of rule, even if it's, for example, similar to what they have in junior super stock, where if you finish in the top 3 in the championship, you're forced to move up and you can't stay in the class for multiple seasons. So, yeah, I think some rule definitely needs to be thought up over the next couple of years, and hopefully we can have much more exciting seasons anyway in the future, because the idea of the championship is so exciting, and it clearly has, it's got a great reception from everyone involved, first of all, from the racers involved, because we've had such big grid numbers, all different types of experience and levels, and also the fact we've had to make 2 groups for the classes, apart from at Cadwell, where we only had 1 group of riders. We didn't have the usual Heat 1, Heat 2. But obviously with Cooper and Superbike, as you mentioned, if they weren't there, we would probably have a much closer race. Well, we would have a closer race and a much more exciting championship in our hands. So I definitely think the organisers need to be looking at something, maybe even if it's the top 3 moving up at the end of the season, or if you're a British champion, you're not allowed to race in the class, or something along that lines to stop your big names coming in and dominating, because this class or this cup was meant to be able to give riders a chance. But obviously you can't knock the likes of Richard Cooper for entering the class in the first place and rocking up and winning absolutely everything.
Yeah, I mean, if there's no rule to say that you can't do it, and there's a big old wad of prize money available, take it.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's like taking candy off everyone else. It's a shit analogy. But yeah. Anyway, it's first season. It's let's say a learning year, and it's going to be around next season, and maybe there might be those extra changes to further enhance the show. I'm trying to be diplomatic. God, give me a break. But yeah, Richard Cooper, doing absolutely nothing wrong at all. And Thomas Strudwick, hot on his heels. And I've already just heard they've already won the Donington round as well already in a few weeks' times. That's how quick they are. See, so they've already won it. Not quite, but yeah. Hey ho. And we'll have even more upgrades to the BSB timetable and schedule next season, as we've already seen. So there's a lot more to unfold and get more acquainted with in the future. Just because it's a bit of change, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be bad. A lot of change is always for the better. And I'm generally of the opinion that everything is better nowadays than it used to be, because it just is. Taking the presumption that everything's evolving and getting better all the time. And there's always a good reason why we stopped doing the things that we used to like and love, that we thought in the past, like not having a showdown and then having the old showdown. And now we've got a new showdown, for example.
Which will start next round.
Yes, start next round. And, thoughts on that then? Is it really just a 2-horse race, really, isn't it?
It's a championship's closing in, potentially, but obviously we do have the points up in, and then at Brands Hatch, we have 35 points for a race wins. All it takes, really, even at the final round, is for a bad race or a couple of pretty meh races, really, if they're not in the pace at Brands Hatch, both Bridewell and Irwin, potentially the gap can come down. But at the moment, 14.5 points, and the gap between Tommy Bridewell and Kyle Wright in third is 51 points. It certainly seems like it's a 2-horse race at the moment. But I do think this championship isn't over yet, and I can't wait to see how the Paul Bird Ducati garage changes over the next couple of races, and how the tension builds as there's less and less races left in the season, as I see there's some kind of calculations anyway in your head. And
no, on my calculator I was just working out the number of points left available up for grabs, total number of points up for grabs, because I spectacularly miscalculated this last week. Am I right in thinking that it's 35 points for each win at Brands Hatch?
Yes.
Okay. So, by my calculations, shoot me down, I reckon there's 255 points, maximum available points left to play for. So, Lewis is just working that out now. It's 25, 35. Yeah, 35.
How many did you say?
255.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah, got it right. I can work in the calculator. That's good. So, yeah, when you look at it like that, as though, there's 255 points available on the table, possibly for someone, then 14.5 points, it almost makes it, well, that's nothing really, is it, at all?
Yeah, it's nothing. Even 50 points, it can still come down pretty fast with so many points on offer. All it takes is for a dodgy round for the Paul Bird bikes. Like we've seen, for example, at Thruxton, it can happen.
Yeah. I'm still in favour of having another half points race at some point.
Are these half points still freaking you out?
I know they're pissing you off as well, the half points, I know, because it's just...
Yeah.
It's not a full point. So people with, ADHD and stuff, it's annoying them. Yeah. Anyway, maybe just by pure coincidence and chance, that might just happen at Alton Park, where we will see the return of the R&G British Talent Cup, 2 races for the Tiddler class, as some people call it. I rather call it the next future stars and champions of the future. But hey-ho. R&G British Talent Cup back in action in, when is it exactly? 15th, 17th of September, isn't it?
3 weeks' time or something, yeah.
Oh my God. So that'll be good to see. And Evan Belford in a commanding position for that. We'll talk about that a lot more. And it'll be the penultimate round of the championship next time out. Because they don't go to Brands Hatch. So Donington will be the R&G British Talent Cup's showdown finale. But luckily they keep all the same points structure as well. So there's no sort of weird calculations and stuff. But it's probably going to be Evan Belford who wins it anyway. He is leading the championship at the moment by 45 points over Emmanuel Brinton. Sullivan Mansley in third place. Just 4 points behind him, and he was commentating with you at the weekend on Sunday. Was old Sullivan, and doing some paddock interviews as well. So that was good. He's developing his media career, just in case. Harley McCabe slipping down to 4th place after Thruxton. Lucas Brown, I think, moving up to 5th or staying in 5th. Anyway, Ollie Walker doing a fantastic job at Thruxton. He really enjoyed Thruxton, and that showed because he got his best results of the entire season for at least over a year. Anyway, he's up to 6th in the championship at the moment. Julian Correa in 7th, Ryan Frost in 8th place. Harrison Desoy had a nightmare of a season. I think he won't mind me saying that. I think he'll admit that himself. But he's characteristically staying upbeat, I'd like to think. He's... And Philip Soroviak in 10th place in the championship. He's just waiting for his opportunity, is old Soroviak. He's slowly getting there. I think maybe at Alton might be his time, maybe at Donington, but it was for the past couple of rounds for old Philip. Old Philip, he's like 14 or something. He's right up there fighting with like 4th, 5th and 6th, but there's always like something that happens. He always gets overtook or sort of barged out of the way, and he ends up in like 9th or 10th. So he was riding at Fab Racing at Rowra at the weekend as well, and you were commentating on it as well, Lewis, and it was a good race. Good race weekend at the weekend at Rowra.
Yeah, it was. It was. It looked to be. Well, it looks like Cadwell had slightly better weather than us, although it did rain at Cadwell Park throughout the weekend pretty heavily. But at Rowra, we had pretty mixed conditions throughout the whole weekend. Basically, in the middle of a bowl with no reception inside the old quarry, so you couldn't really get much of the results at all from the British Superbike weekend. And then you went back to the hotel, which also had no reception as well. But the race itself,
I just got over that trauma,
good.
But whatever. That was, yeah. Old Raura.
Yeah. Good old Cumbria.
Yeah, good old Cumbria with its third world internet and 4G signal. Yeah, accurate. So yeah, Fab Racing, that was at the weekend, and talking about last weekend, moving on from last weekend to what's coming up this weekend, just quickly in the next 5 minutes or so. We've got No Limits Racing back in action this weekend at Alton Park, a championship that you commentated on at some point, young Lewis, haven't you? So that's going to be good, I suppose. They still don't have live streaming, and I don't know why, so they should sort that out, because the rest of us who are not going to Alton Park want to see the good, fine racing that's happening, no doubt, at Alton Park. Big grids all throughout the weekend, and there's lots of good racing, as you can attest to, because you commentated on it at Donington earlier in the season. So yeah. There's also Bemsey at Snetterton. Again, I'd love to watch live streaming of that, personally, just as a consumer of live streaming. There's the MotoGP at Catalonia.
It's small matter with that
thing. The MXGP in Turkey on Sunday as well, if you're into your motocross. Speedway Grand Prix, Cardiff as well. Ty Woffington, what can he do, if anything at all? That's on Saturday. And the small matter of the Knockhill Motorsport Club, I think. Is that how you pronounce it? Something like that.
Scottish Championship as well.
Scottish Championship, Motor Scottish Champ. Anyway, Lewis is going to be riding this weekend against the likes of mighty Scott McPhee and Troy Jeffrey, amongst others. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, final race weekend of the year, actually. So yeah, it should be a good one. Just got the bike back on Sunday, actually. Well, I was commentating at Fab Racing at Rowra, so luckily parents went over and picked it up and paid for it all, and yeah, it's all fixed. I'm ready to go now after spinning it last round. So it's patched up nicely. But yeah, should be ready to go. Practicing on the Friday because they don't have enough time to practice on the Saturday morning, and going straight into qualifying Saturday morning, and then we'll just see what's what. British sidecars F1 and F2 are there this weekend as well, with Emmanuel Clement and Kershaw and Charlwood, I should say, two World Championship sidecar teams, and British as well, coming in to Knockhill as well to try for the Jock Taylor Trophy, which is an annual Scottish Championship trophy, which is held every year. It's just one race, and it's the top three, I think, from every class that are racing in that. And yeah, it should be a good weekend. And the weather so far says dry, but not kill. Well, you can never really trust that. So yeah, we'll just see what's what. Take it race by race, session by session, and see what the weather's like, and see how the bike is, and see how I am, and see what the grid numbers are going to be like. There's even a paddock plan put in place this weekend as well.
Very professional. Woo!
Very professional, splitting us up from the sidecar guys. They get half the paddock all to themselves, and we're kind of all getting crammed in one side of the paddock. But it should be a good weekend nonetheless. Loads of entries and pretty full grids as well.
Good. So podium on the cards then for you?
I was thinking lap record and race one and pole position.
Still good.
I mean, it's probably still that. I won't say that to the medics. We're just going to go out there and have fun. Okay?
Have fun, Lewis. As long as you have fun.
As long as I have fun. Probably the final race weekend that I'll be doing. So just going out there and enjoying it. Probably ever. But we'll just go out there and enjoy it. I don't think I'm going to persuade my parents for any more years of racing. So
Well, there's always next year.
I think they've got a bit double the grey hairs, if not more, from myself, the bike, and the van over the past couple of seasons.
Don't get me started about racetracks and costing and vans and everything. It's another 2 hours.
Well, on the bright side, with it most likely being the last weekend, that'll do. There is going to be cake this weekend as well.
Cake?
So, special cake made just for custom-made cake. That's going to be incredible. So, that's to look forward to nonetheless, even if it is absolutely pouring it down because it says it's going to be dry.
Excellent. Cake and no doubt some ice cream on standby, just in case.
Fresh tub.
Exactly. Good luck this weekend. I'm sure it's not going to be your last time out racing on a bike. You've got to beat that pesky Scott McPhee and Troy Jeffrey eventually. So,
maybe we
business.
can enter a motorsport radio funded team.
Funded? No. Well, maybe we can put a crowdfunder out and then have a crowdfunder for that crowdfunder. I don't know. And I'll say good luck for your final round this weekend, Lewis, at Knockhill. And send us loads of videos or get your dad to post us loads of videos to play on next week's show. And there you go. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing this weekend, and whether you're at a track or racing yourself, let us know. Tag us in anything. Enjoy it. It's been I would say a good weekend all round. A strangely good weekend at the weekend. Yeah. And hopefully it will be again this weekend as we look forward to MotoGP, you at Knockhill. And Moto 2 and Moto 3, Speedway and Motocross. And, I won't get to see any Bemsy or No Limits because they're not live streamed. But anyway, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, have fun doing it. And, let's see you back here next Tuesday.
Next week. Maybe Wednesday because, we'll see if any news comes out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, everything will emerge tomorrow. So as you're probably listening to this on delay, you're probably already like, why are they talking? They sound so out of date at the moment. This is like so yesterday. But anyway, whatever. Have fun. Thank you very much for tuning in and see you next week. Bye.
This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website. Motorsport Radio.